Been through the desert on a horse wheel. Felt good to be out on the rain. In the desert, they don't remember me. 'Cause there ain't no you know pain. Da 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 da. Testing that mic. Testing. I think we're right. Not quite the desert sun, but Sicily does it different. After 2 days, my skin did begin to turn red, but slapped on that factor 50. And also started speaking to myself, so I thought I'd get the camera out, because now I can speak to you guys instead of myself. So it makes it a bit more acceptable. But yeah, I'm just between Palermo and Agrigento now. I'm closer to Palermo, the north side, and the scenery out here is amazing. It is probably the best part of Sicily I've seen so far, discounting the towns, of course, and the cities, because like, look at it, it's just green everywhere with these kind of like great kind of peaks in the distance. Yeah, it's just beautiful. It's great riding because it's smooth ascents and then, you know, pretty smooth descents as well, but you build up a lot of speed because the roads are quite good. Of course, this one not so much, but they're going to make this one good, which is why it's like this, because they're smashing it up and then they're going to rebuild it. There's workmen down the other end just doing the upstand to keep the dirt off the road. But yeah, Sicily's probably been one of my favorite parts of the trip, to be honest, because it's getting warmer, but it's not too hot, and just this kind of like mixture between a deserty terrain and then, you know, green luscious fields as well. It's so nice, and there's so much space here. You know, the rest of Italy I was in, it just seems so compact, and like there wasn't enough space for everyone. Here, of course, it's better for me here because, you know, there's more places to camp, especially in the west part of Sicily. I found the east was a bit more, you know, resemblance of Italy, which makes sense because it is closer. So I pretty much did most of the coastal route, you know, down the east coast from Messina, pretty much to the bottom, and then across just south of Ragusa, coming out to Agrigento. Now I'm crossing inland, and the Sicily Divide is a famous kind of bikepacking route, and that pretty much runs, you know, center of Sicily all the way across, basically inland the entire way. But I'm glad I did it the way I did. In the scheme of the trip, it is day 108 and going pretty well. Done probably just over, I think over 5,100 kilometers now, and 50 to 60 camps, probably closer to 60. And yeah, this is going really well. Got some good photos as well. I'm more in the mindset of just stopping and dedicating the time to getting the shot, because that's all that's going to remain once I leave. And you know, I want that legacy to be that photo book, and the videos that I make afterwards. So this video is just going to be about my time in Sicily, I think. There's a lot to put into it, so, you know, there's no point kind of stretching it out with other parts of Italy as well. Those can have their own time. Sun is at a terrible point for filming, pretty much at the highest point in the sky and the most bright it's going to be. So anyway, made it to Sicily, and yeah, the ferry to Messina was quite straightforward, and I'm looking at mainland Italy now, which I'm going to be saying goodbye to for a bit, because I'm going to be doing Sicily and then getting the ferry to Sardinia, and then after that going back to the mainland towards Salerno/Naples, and then heading north to finish in Lazio, Rome. But yeah, I'll give you one look at the sea. It's quite a palette of blue, to be honest, and green. So from where I am now, it's just completely kind of washed out green, and it goes into kind of like an emerald color, into light blue and then deep blue. So I'm gonna go to Taormina now and then meet my parents for a few days, which will be very nice. 18th to the 22nd of April, and then after that heading off to do the rest of Sicily. So I'll jump off for now and I'll catch you guys later. And the wind is taking us away.
You know, when we went to our accommodation, I thought, how far away are we? But we're not actually far away. Once you get down that lift... And
No, we're not too far.
Great fun watching someone else work.
That's what the management job's all about.
Yeah, just lying on a liner like this, I haven't done this for years.
On a lounger? Don't you do it in the back garden?
Well, maybe in our back garden, but not on holiday.
Oh my god, look at this.
Oh no, what's happened?
Just like so much,
Gunk.
like bits of like fiber, like get pulled off the road or like off a brush,
Right.
and they just get lodged in there and greasified. I just stood on that bit of mud. Just set up now in this kind of bamboo forest. Great spot, you know. It comes off the main road and it said there was a path here, so it is kind of like designated. But, you know, I don't feel like anyone's been down here recently. The bamboo is just completely kind of arched, overgrown, slumped down into the path. And yeah, completely hidden. Also very good to protect me from the wind. You know, it's just so dense. And yeah. But yeah, that's it. Coffee and then shower. Or a dip in the sea if I can't find that. Let's pack this up. So we're on the way to Agrigento. I just left Gela and it is a lovely afternoon. The wind is a lot less ferocious down here. I'm kind of like in the valley. Not that you can call it a valley really, I'm just next to the sea. But it is kind of like a little dip. And the scenery out here is amazing. The kind of like hills in the distance. There's one village kind of just on the top of one looking like a fortress. Looking very cool. And then I just see this mattress here on the floor, and I thought this would be great for a shot to ride by. It just kind of, the whole of like South Italy coming from like, I'd say the center down, coming along the Adriatic and then down the south into Calabria and then, you know, Sicily. You see so much fly tipping, people just dumping rubbish on the side of the road. You know, people are very kind of conscious about locking their gates and, you know, their farmlands across here because of that. You know, in the north, you know, a lot of these gates were open, chains weren't there and stuff like that, but here people are just worried about that, and it's just so annoying. It's just like, imagine just buying a place and people just dump on your land all the time. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it now. Sicily is a great place to ride. You know, it's very much more like Italy, the Italy I expected, kind of, in a way, and especially South Italy, because, you know, it's a lot more dry terrain. You know, that kind of like golden fields, you know, beaches with sand. It's yeah, it's very beautiful. Of course, it has kind of like its rougher parts. When I say rougher, I just mean like the roads are unkept. You know, it's very bumpy in areas, but generally, like the routes around have been pretty smooth tarmac. You know, generally, if you take the main roads, and the cities along the east coast, absolutely stunning. So starting in Taormina, I went through Messina, which is the first place I went to actually when I got the ferry. I kind of went through there. It just seems like a big kind of you know, industrial city. You know, a lot happening, ferries coming in, just trade, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I went to Taormina, stunning place, very well preserved, very polished. You know, it's kind of like how that guy described Portofino. You know, a place where rich people go to buy expensive food and luxury clothes, kind of stuff. It's definitely worth it. That kind of piazza where you just look out and you see Mount Etna in the distance just slowly smoking away. Kind of humbling and just incredible at the same time. And then going further down the coast to Catania, very good vibe from there. I'd definitely go back and stay in Catania for a few days. You know, there's a lot to see there. It's a big city. And I was only there for a couple of hours, but I did like it. And then going on to Syracuse. The actual Syracuse like city, I didn't really see much of it, to be honest, unless I just passed through it. It was just quite rough. How I'd describe like Venezia Mestre. You know, it's kind of a part that you just drive through. There's just kind of like residential buildings, just a lot of roads. But then the gem of it was that little island, Isla di Ottiglia. That's definitely worth seeing. You know, kind of like it's like an old town. Got some cool structures on there, and you can get to it by bridge. It's quite easy. And then on there I went to Noto based on my friend's recommendations. I think it's so Noto would be 2 T's, it just says 1, so is it Noto? Noto? Something like that. Every time I think like I'm, you know, using the kind of rules of the language, it just doesn't apply that in that case. They'll be like, no, it's still pronounced the same way you pronounce 2 T's. So I'll have to find out. And then I left there, I think a day or 2 back. Noto was beautiful. You know, it's such a condensed kind of tourist place. There's so much to see, so many like cathedrals, churches, nice cars hanging about. And then there was a very cool street with just like this, it's just these little bits of artwork. It's like circular and just like a woven material of like multiple colors and shapes. And it was just overhead, it was very cool. And then there were like staircases painted, so if you look at them face on, it looks like it's a mural. And then yeah, coming out west, heading to Agrigento. I just went through Gela. Not much to see in Gela, I don't think. Yeah, there wasn't too much there. Passed through, and now I'm here, kind of like out in the country. The mosquitoes haven't jumped on me yet. There's a van coming down now. I'll have to get out of the way. But let's go! I'll see you guys in the next one. Pretty much just a few minutes outside Agrigento now, and the Greek ruins, which are kind of like the main tourist attraction of this area, they're just down there. I passed a few of them, and the coolest one is a bit further over there somewhere. But I found out that, of course, you know, it's pretty obvious, you have to pay, and it's all like a gated area, and the entrance is at some point down there. And yeah, I just couldn't be bothered with the faff of paying, and then potentially not even letting my bike through, and you know, all this kind of stuff. I can see the ruins I saw the ruins from when I approached. They're very cool, and seeing them up close won't really do much for me at this point, especially after, you know, pedaling. I don't know how much I've done today, maybe 70-80k, quite a bit of elevation. Little bird. Yeah, so I'll just continue the climb up to Agrigento. I've been camping the last 5 nights, so I decided to get a hotel tonight, a nice cheap one. It was like 30 euros, I think. This incline is crazy. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's hope I don't drop this. Let's go. Just had the most upper body pushing I've done on the bike so far. Up this road here, it is incredibly steep, all the way down from that riverbed down there. And you can see a really cool kind of like village on the top of the mountain there. Thank goodness I'm not going to there. But yeah, the derailleur on the bike is causing a lot of trouble. It just keeps slipping as soon as I go up a steep climb. So as soon as there's too much kind of like pressure on the chain, it just slips, and it goes into the harder gear, so you just can't pedal. And I think it's because yesterday, I mean, it's been a problem because I think the derailleur is actually bent, and I think it's been that way ever since I got the bike, because it's always been a problem. I tried indexing it, but it just doesn't sort it, and yesterday I made it slightly worse because I changed the brake pad on the back. I couldn't fit both on there because I think the brakes need to be drained a bit, bled, or that cable needs to be loosened, so I only changed one. So that one is currently touching the brake pad, the brake disc, and it's causing a lot more friction. So that just adds to that friction and it makes it slip even more. So pushed it all the way up this hill. I'm going to change it back to the old pad in the town up here, and then just continue on and see if I can complete the challenge like this. If not, if it remains a problem after I do that change, I'm going to take it to a bike shop and see what we can do. But I'm reluctant to do that just because it costs money. But if it means it's probably worth the money spending that to have a bike that's actually functional. And especially when climbing hills like this and there's wild dogs about. So many packs down there. Like, you just pass them and they just bark. Some bark at you, some just stand silently. Last night I had last night I said earlier, there was this one that was just very silent. Luckily it was alone. And it just you know, became more friendly, and then it got a bit frisky, and it just started like jumping on me. It didn't like go to bite me, but it would always like look at where my hand is and just like think I have something for it, so it looks like it's going to bite me, and it comes close, but fortunately it didn't. Yeah, so wild dogs, a bit of a problem. Alright, let's continue on. E questo il workshop?
Questo è l'ufficio.
Ah.
Questa è la parte di costruzione, partita industriale.
Ah, sì.
Per costruire attrezzi, cartelli, cose un altro.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Però ho messo un pochettino perché devo fare il capoconosco, voglio mettere un pochettino di solare.
Sì.
In inverno purtroppo piovendo non vedo.